This week, we're talking about how honors courses can jumpstart your career. Coming up next. Hey, Honors Bulls, welcome to the Honor Roll podcast. I'm your host, Fabiana Requena, and today my co-host is Caroline Merriman. This week's question is, which honors course helped jumpstart your career?
I would have to say taking narrative cartography with Dr. Salim. It was the first class I took that was really focused on being creative, and it got me back into writing. And so it's the reason that I actually picked up my English major.
Wow, I think that's super inspiring, Caroline. For me, it was the honors capstone course with Professor Nemirovsky. It's an awareness in motion, and I learned how to use a lot of Adobe software products, and I think it's super important as I start my career. Well, Caroline, on that note, we have a student here who's using honors courses to jumpstart her research and a future career as a dermatologist. Today, we're joined by honors student Chinaza Munonye. Stay tuned to learn how to make honors coursework your very own.
Hi, I'm Alyssa Hammond. I am a senior in biomedical sciences. To be an honors student, I would say that academics is combined with real experience in the world. Like for my capstone research project, I was able to research medical literacy and get 2 national level publication presentations out of it.
It's a pleasure to have you on the podcast, Chinaza. Would you mind introducing yourself?
Yes, of course. It's a pleasure to be here. My name is Chinaza Munonye, and I am a third-year health science major, chemistry minor on the pre-medical track, hoping to become a dermatologist. I am a member of the Honors College, and I'm also of Nigerian descent, and I have 2 parents in healthcare. And I think that having 2 parents in healthcare and coming from an immigrant background really makes me a person that tries to center hard work, generosity, and empathy in everything I do. So that's a little bit about me, and I'm really excited to be here.
Well, that's amazing. To start off, we'd like to know what drew you to study here at USF specifically.
Okay, that is a great question. I'm originally from the DMV area, so that's DC, Maryland, and Virginia. And I think I was the only person in my high school who applied to USF. I had no idea about USF until I want to say my junior year of high school when I was looking for colleges to apply to. And I think that USF just came up as a college that was really big on giving scholarships to people from diverse backgrounds, which I really appreciated. And I think there was a specific scholarship where they were giving automatic admittance into the honors college and some little amount of scholarship funds for people who got the College Board national
recognition program. Yeah,
Yes,
I got that too.
yes. So I got the National African American Recognition Program Award. So that also was one thing that drew me here to USF. I think for me, I knew I wanted to go to college with no debt. And I also knew that I wanted to be part of an honors college. I applied to honors colleges with every school that I applied to. So USF kind of checked both of those boxes, and here I am.
So you mentioned how scholarships and really the financial standing drew you here. I can relate to that as well. That's the same thing that brought me to USF. But how did USF fulfill your hopes once you got here and you actually got rooted in the university and started doing activities on campus?
That's a great question. Honestly, I think that, like I said, I primarily chose USF for the scholarships that were being provided to me. I think I'm somebody who likes exploring new places. And with me being the only person I knew who was going to USF, I came here pretty much alone, which was daunting, but it was also exciting at the same time. So when I got here and laid my foundation and stuff, I think at first it was just okay, I'm here because I have scholarships and I just had to adjust to a whole new environment. But I think after, I started participating in volunteering and joining clubs and really interacting with my professors, I think it kind of became more of a homey environment. I always go back home and be I can't wait to go back home. And the whole time I already am at home when I'm in Maryland, but now USF feels like home to me. So I think that it definitely expanded past just something, it expanded past an institution that's just giving me money. It kind of became more of a home environment. So I really appreciated that.
I really agree that, finding your home here, your community here is super important, especially as a first-year student. So I feel here at the Honors College, we kind of offer that sense of community as well because we have smaller classes and you get to know your professors a lot better. You actually took honors courses and saw them not just really as a requirement, but they became something a lot more meaningful for you and as you were starting to develop your career. So can you share how you first realized you could use your honors classes to pursue research and other things that you're passionate about?
I think for me, that realization came during my acquisition of knowledge class that I took my first semester. If I'm not mistaken, acquisition of knowledge and honors foundations were like the first two like introductory honors classes when you're a freshman entering the honors college at USF. And I kind of just was taking it because, okay, I was required to take it. I didn't really know what it would entail. I think AOK for me was kind of like learning about like philosophy, learning about interdisciplinary inquiry, learning about communication styles too was also something that my professor kind of included. So it was an interesting class, but at the end of that class, you have to write your freshman honors thesis on any topic of your choosing. And that sort of freedom of choice when it came to choosing a topic that you're passionate about was what kind of really made me understand that I could use my honors classes to pursue research that I'm passionate about. I ended up writing my freshman year thesis on racial disparities in dermatology, and I fell in love with both the honors college and dermatology after that.
Can you tell us a little bit about what inspired you to like pick that thesis topic?
I could be here all day talking about that. But like I said before, I'm really passionate about dermatology, and I always have been. I've always wanted to be a dermatologist. I think it started very like juvenile. Like my mom saw that I was really good at science and math. And she also saw that I loved beauty and skincare. And she was like, oh, what's the intersection of these two things? Dermatologist. And I think that for her, she wanted to find something that I would be passionate about, but also find a way for me to become a doctor because, like I said, I do have immigrant parents. So I kind of just like, yeah, dermatologist makes sense. But as I kind of started to grow and started to learn more about dermatology, I was like, wow, this is something I could actually really see myself doing. And then I got to high school, and in high school, I was in a 2-year biomedical science program that I took alongside of my classes. And at the end of that program, we had a capstone project. With that capstone project, our professor kind of just said, you're doing a capstone, you're going to make it work, choose a topic, and make it into something beautiful. And I think that was really daunting because I'm like, because we had learned about research throughout that 2-year course, but I was like, it's going to be me now conducting and running this all on my own. And I knew I liked dermatology, but I was like, I don't know what to do this project on. And I think the project I ended up settling on was a project looking at like herbal and conventional antifungals in Malassezia, which is actually a fungi that contributes to like eczema and dandruff in the skin. And I had my sister actually, she had really bad eczema as a child, and we couldn't really find a proper treatment for her. There wasn't a doctor that could properly diagnose her because of her darker skin tone. And we eventually found a doctor who was a Black female doctor in my hometown, and she ended up diagnosing her and giving her a proper treatment. But that treatment got too expensive. So what my mom actually did was she got this soap called Dudu Oshun, which is African black soap. And it's like a soap made of different like herbs and plants and stuff. And that's what cured her eczema. She doesn't have eczema any longer. So I kind of wanted to pull in that experience into my research. So we looked at like the herbal. So like I was referencing like the African black soap, and then looked into conventional, referencing the prescription that my sister's doctor gave her. And I wanted to study that. And it was something that just became so personally meaningful to me. And I fell in love with dermatology after that. But like those racial disparities, those socioeconomic disparities are really prevalent in dermatology. So after that project, I did that my senior year of high school. So my freshman year of undergrad, when I took AOK, I kind of wanted to expand on that and just figure out why these disparities happen. So that's why I chose that project.
I think you have a really unique perspective when it comes to dermatology, and I think that's really helped you. I really like how you mentioned the kind of homeopathic ailments that we can find. There's really so many, like versus like Western medicine, and like you said, they can be a lot more affordable for people. So is that something that you want to do in dermatology? Is that something that you want to continue to research?
That's such a great question, honestly. Like, I have so many research interests within dermatology, but I think I do want to incorporate holistic aspects into my treatment of patients. I think addressing like diet and exercise and hormonal factors when treating patients with dermatologic conditions is really important to me, but I will not be the provider that will center on that and neglect like tested and tried treatments. I kind of want to intersect the both of them. So that's how I see me as a practicing physician.
Absolutely. Also, speaking of all the projects that you've participated in throughout your honors courses, you've had the chance to present some of your research outside of USF. So, can you tell us a little bit about what those experiences have been like for you?
Yes, I definitely can. I got to present research looking at the role of JAK inhibition in vitiligo treatment at the Florida Undergraduate Research Conference that occurred at USF this past February. That experience was really special to me because that was actually the first time I ever got to present research in my undergraduate career. The last time I presented research was during high school for that Malastasia project, so it was my first time doing like presenting research since then. So it was like very nerve-wracking to me. I think that I was really nervous because I had a really hectic week and I had no time to prepare my presentation. And I was literally so nervous to the point I almost abandoned my poster. Like it was in the MSc and I was just like, I don't think I can do this. Like I was honestly very scared and I was just like, I don't think I'm prepared. But I'm somebody who truly believes in honoring my work and making sure that I I'm somebody who believes in honoring my work and making sure that if I say I'm going to do something, I do it. I don't like to pull out from things last minute. I think I worked really hard on that project, and to abandon my poster would be to just abandon the hard work that I did. So I was like, I'm going to present this research regardless of how I feel about it. And I'm so, so, so glad I did. I actually ended up meeting two women who were personally affected by vitiligo. One lady had vitiligo on her foot. The other lady had it was her whole family who had vitiligo. And they were really encouraging to me. They really pushed me to continue my path in research. And that experience really reminded me like why I love research and love medicine as like deeply as I do. And I think it just really grounded me. It reminded me that there is a reason why I'm doing the things that I'm doing, and I should never feel too nervous to present my findings and present myself to the world. And it's something that I'm so, so grateful for. I actually still have my badge from that conference, and I keep it in my room, kind of as a reminder to like trust my work ethic and block out any fear surrounding my future. So presentations and presenting research has been such a transformative experience for me.
It sounds like you've had like a lot of people that have inspired you throughout your life. Can you tell us about any mentors that you've had throughout your time and as you're building your career?
Okay. I definitely can. I've had great mentors and professors. I think my first real mentors at USF were actually my peers. I think we kind of forget that our peers can be really good mentors. I think like the people and students that I met along the way were very quick to like help me understand research, find opportunities, send me links to anything that I needed help with. And I think they were my first mentors and my first like guiding forces at USF. Beyond that, though, I think my honors professors are also really good at mentoring me. I did a dermatology research project in almost every single honors class that I've taken, except for the one I'm in right now. And all of my honors professors were very accepting of me infusing my passion of dermatology into my class projects, regardless of whether the class was a medical class or not. And I think having those like positive forces in the honors college and then in the student body of USF, honors and not honors, were like really big mentors for me.
Mhm. I think it's really cool that like our professors are so open to like letting us kind of change, not necessarily change our class a little bit, but again, like adapt our assignments so that like we can kind of explore the things that we're passionate about, because you're going to have all of this context and all this experience that you've found through your classes and these different lenses to view dermatology that like maybe other dermatologists aren't going to have. And like in the end, that's just going to make you like a better healthcare provider. So I think it's really cool, yeah, to have that from our professors, but also like our peers. Like I've gotten jobs because of students that I've known in the honors college.
Yeah.
So it is really cool to have that like sense of security, but also like we all kind of like watch out
For each other.
I
Yeah.
definitely agree. Honor students definitely watch out for each other. I think, like you said, I've gotten like a lot of research opportunities, job opportunities from just like talking to honor students like in passing. So just like a great environment, a great community to belong in.
Yeah, because we're all involved in a lot of different things. So we kind of like spread the word
Yeah.
amongst each
No,
other. We're
definitely,
like, oh yeah,
definitely.
I'm doing this cool thing. Like, Caroline tells me about things all the time.
My name is Benjamin Young. I'm a faculty member at the Judy Genshaft Honors College. Incoming students should apply to the Honors College because it provides the framework for both community and personal development and professional development at a really deep, integrative level that makes the difference in the long run.
So kind of like touching back on like your experience in dermatology and all these, different like foundational opportunities you've had from research to honors classes, you really built off of those experiences by starting the dermatology organization on campus. Can you talk about like how your past kind of helped you to have the skills you needed to create this?
Yes, I definitely can. So, my dermatology organization on campus is called Derm Scholars, and it aims to help students, especially underrepresented minorities, pursue careers in dermatology. I truly love the organization and love what it stands for, but I definitely did not come into USF knowing that I was going to start a dermatology organization. I think I came into undergrad with kind of like a fear of being perceived. I never wanted to be too visible because I felt like I just didn't want people to think I wasn't good enough. And it took me around 2 years to kind of reverse that and build the confidence that I have in myself. I think for me, as I accumulate knowledge, I accumulate confidence. So my classes at USF helped me build a stronger knowledge of dermatology through my projects, but they also helped me craft my public speaking skills, my collaborative skills. So I think all of those things gave me the foundation to start Derm Scholars, which actually just recently won 2 awards through USF's Black Student Union. So I'm really grateful to the Honors College for giving me the platform and the confidence to grow and start an organization that's really near and dear to my heart.
So, as for the future, can you walk us through a little bit about what your plans are like, what your next steps are, and about your dream career in dermatology?
I am graduating this fall, so I think my immediate next steps are to take the MCAT and apply to medical school. That's a chapter for me I'm extremely excited for. Like I said, USF was kind of an era for me of transition and building confidence, but I'm definitely ready to take a deep dive into my academic journey and kind of go to the next level in terms of preparing for a career in medicine. As for my future career in dermatology, there are so many things that I dream of doing. So I think we can start within like the patient care realm of things. For me, I want to be a skin of color dermatologist, which is a dermatologist that specializes in the treatment of those with darker skin tones. There's really a lack of knowledge on how dermatologic conditions present in those with darker skin tones and those who are from ethnic backgrounds. So I would love to be a physician that helps bridge that gap. I think for me, my future career in dermatology, I really want it to be defined by widespread impact. I just really want to be a provider and a dermatologist who really improves the field of dermatology at large outside of just like my outside of my the patients that I see in my clinic or my practice. As for research, I really want to conduct research in sub-Saharan Africa. Like I said earlier, I'm Nigerian, so trying to do research that targets the underserved populations in that area and relates to dermatology is something that I really, really want to do. And I just want to become an advocate for like health equity and community service within the field of dermatology. Towards the very end of my career, this is like a really big goal of mine, and it's a very daunting goal, but it's something that I think I can definitely do with a lot of hard work and determination, but I dream of becoming the president of the American Academy of Dermatology or the president of the Skin of Color Society so that I can really be in a leadership position where I have the tools to truly improve the entire field of dermatology at large. So like those are my hopes and dreams, and hopefully I can get there.
That is so cool. I love hearing you say that you're excited to take the MCAT. I've
I've never heard that.
heard that in my whole life. Like you've got to be so passionate at this point to be like, yeah, I'm gonna go take that. I'm gonna go take that MCAT right now. Just give it to me. I love that. And I think it's so cool. Like we've kind of heard this whole experience you've had like through your college career from like why you came to USF and why you're starting these organizations, and to kind of see all of that funnel into like this like multifaceted approach to medicine where like on one hand, it is like personal patient care and it is like treating people who have, suffered from like healthcare disparities similar to your sister. And then at the same time, it is also kind of addressing these like really widespread lacks of research in like areas like sub-Saharan Africa. And so I think it's so cool how you've processed all those things and kind of, really planned out this really awesome, super cool career. And like, we can't wait to see like that happen for you. It's going to be
We're
really,
super
really
excited
great.
for you.
Other exciting things you have coming up. As you mentioned, you're about to graduate. But before you do that, you are going on the honors trip to the Dominican Republic this May. So that is like a health-focused trip. What are you most excited about for this experience?
I'm honestly so excited for that trip because I'm in the class portion for that right now. And that's where like for the semester before you go to the trip, you just really like learn about Dominican Republic, health disparities, global health, and then you prepare like for a health fair that you do. So the group that I'm in for the health fair is Women's Health. So we are going to be hosting the women's health fair there. And then we'll be educating the residents on the menstrual cycle, family planning, hormones. And I just think that I'm so excited to give back in that way, and also excited to grow my passion for global health because, I touched on wanting to do research in sub-Saharan Africa, but I think this experience in the Dominican Republic will really help me start understanding what that could potentially look like. So very, very excited.
Now, finally, for any honors students who might be starting out, what advice would you give to them about making the most of honors courses and opportunities that we have here?
I definitely think that I would tell them to make their honors courses work for them. I think it's really important to use those classes to find and then develop a passion, especially if you're pursuing a career in medicine or law. I think having a passion really helps with applications because having some sort of niche passion kind of sets you apart from other applicants. And even outside of that, it kind of just really makes you understand why you're spending 7 years in school. So I think that's really important. I think it's important to choose classes that align closely with your interests and career goals and then pour your heart into those projects. I think in any class in general, it's kind of easy to get a project and be like, okay, well, this is due in 2 weeks, so let's just do whatever, find the easiest topic and then turn it in. But I think if you infuse your passion into those projects, it really becomes personally meaningful in a way that you just like there's nothing that can replace that. So really trying to make the projects work for you, and imbue your passion into them is really important. I think also from there, opportunities for academic and personal growth will flow to you. It's really important to use your resources, teachers, friends, advisors, and always remember that you get out of these classes what you put in. That would be the last piece of advice that I have.
I think that's really amazing advice. And I think you're really a testament, like you were saying, to, having a niche passion and kind of expanding that. Like you really put your heart into that in any class, like you said, infusing that into your honors classes and making the most of what you want to do.
So you mentioned like how it's important for students to like use their classes like as a jumping off point for like pursuing their passions. What are some other like class projects or assignments that you've worked on where you've explored like other areas of like your interests?
That is a great question. There are so many projects that I've done this with, but I think I'll just talk about two of my favorites. The first one, I did it in my medicine, drugs, and culture class. My research looked at the lack of skin cancer care for Nigerians with albinism. For some background, albinism is a genetic condition characterized by the lack of melanin pigment in the hair, skin, and nails. Melanin protects the skin from UV rays, so those with albinism are more susceptible to skin cancer. So you can see why skin cancer care for those with albinism is extremely important. Nigeria also has one of the highest incidences of albinism in the world, and that's also, like I said earlier, my home country, so it was really important for me to do this project. It was really interesting to learn that social stigma surrounding albinism plays a significant role in the mental health of albino people, and it was really interesting for me to learn that also that social stigma had that social stigma created the lack of allocated funding towards their healthcare, which I found shocking, honestly. That project was one of the more unique projects I've done in my honors classes, but I was really happy to be able to spread awareness about a global health issue seen in my home country that is just not commonly discussed. I also just recently completed a project in my art and the refugee experience class. That class is kind of a class where we look at comics that are about the refugee experience and kind of just start to understand how they feel during that process, what the refugee experience really is, but it's presented through art. So it's like more relatable and honestly more engaging and fun to read and understand. So we had to do a final project about refugee health or just refugees in general for that project. And with me being passionate about dermatology and being passionate about like sub-Saharan Africa,
Mm-hmm.
my project was on the dermatologic issues that sub-Saharan African refugees face. So with that project, I kind of looked at common diseases that we see in African refugees and then contributing factors. So I kind of found out that some common diseases that we see are like scabies or other like bacterial or parasitic infections. And this was due to like the lack of access to primary and dermatologic care, and then also like the poor conditions in refugee camps. A lot of times refugee camps, especially in countries that don't have the proper infrastructure to handle all the refugees in those camps, we see like lack of sanitation, overcrowdedness, and just like overall poor quality of life for refugees. And I think dermatologic care is something that's kind of really overlooked, especially when it comes to a patient population like refugees, because the first thought is to address like serious chronic conditions or life-threatening conditions, which is not wrong. But I think addressing dermatologic conditions is also important because dermatologic conditions are kind of they how can I say this? They put a magnifying glass onto internal things that are going on. So sometimes if people have really bad psoriasis, it means that they have a heart condition. So also exploring dermatologic conditions and trying to treat them can bring awareness to internal things that are going on that you might not have caught before. So paying attention to dermatology and dermatologic care for refugees is extremely important. As for contributing factors, there are so many. I talked about sanitation, I talked about overcrowdedness, but there are also environmental factors. Africa is obviously a hot place, so like the humidity also, and like humidity in combination with the overcrowdedness and like lack of sanitation makes people more likely to have these dermatologic conditions. In addition to that, like even like the structural factors that are seen in those refugee camps are also contributors. There was a study in Sudan that I looked at, and it found that the camp didn't even have a proper method for waste disposal for the refugees there, which is extremely unfortunate. And they didn't have a toilet or a shower for any of the refugees. And there are thousands of people living here. So I think there are so many things that contributed to that. And that was just also another project that really helped me learn more about dermatology and helped me learn more about the intersection between dermatology and global health. That was another project I was extremely passionate about and loved doing, despite the sadness behind the topic.
Yeah, that's something I actually like wanted to ask you about, because I think like, especially people in our generation, like we very much feel like the weight of like all of these things, that it's like, this is a like infrastructure issue. Like these are really large scale issues, whether it's like you're interested in climate change or whether you're interested in health, like healthcare disparities. And when you really start like looking into them and you realize like, oh, things are actually like really, really bad, like much worse than you thought. It can start to feel like you're up against like this like huge force. Like how do you deal with that and like still keep your passion and like your joy central to like your research?
I think that's a really good question. I think the only way to really address these problems is action. And that might be action through research and writing papers that spread awareness to these things. That might be becoming a dermatologist and then going to sub-Saharan Africa to treat people in these refugee camps or treat people who are from underserved populations. That might look like posting something on your Instagram story to bring awareness. I think bringing awareness and action are really important to addressing these things, because it's kind of sad and kind of daunting when you learn about issues that are going on globally and you feel like you lack power to really change anything. But I think that any action, any positive deed helps. It's better to take action than to sit by and be complicit. I will say that.
Yeah, thank you so much for being on the podcast, and it's been a pleasure. We're really excited to see what you do next.
Of course, it's been a pleasure to be here and talk to you both.
All right, we're back in the studio. I really loved seeing like Chinaza's passion today. She really lit up when she was talking about all of these like future projects she wants to do in research in like sub-Saharan Africa and in vitiligo.
I definitely agree, Caroline, and I love that she sees the intersection in everything, whether that's through her honors courses and trying to merge dermatology into that, or how she talked about homeopathic medicine versus Western ailments and finding the intersection between that. And if you're looking to get involved like Chinaza, don't forget to check the Honor Roll newsletter and our website at usf.edu/honors for all upcoming events, updates, and news. That'll do it for this week's episode. The Honor Roll podcast is recorded in the Judy Genshaft Honors College at the University of South Florida Tampa campus. Production assistance is provided by honors student Sandra Napolitano. Thank you all so much for listening, and please do not forget to rate and review our podcast, as we really appreciate your feedback. Join us next time for more honor stories. Until next time, go Bulls!